Of the whole meeting of the Fisheries Town Council on January the 18th, 2016. This is our first Cal meeting of the year, so Happy New Year to everybody. Is there an introduction of late items? Nothing else on the agenda? Good. Thank you. Then we do have one delegation, and that would be the Okanagan Nation Alliance Fisheries activities for 2016, presented by Richard Busanich and Colette Louie. And Mr. Busanich, thank you for providing us with some slides here, and please tell us what you would like us to know.
Perfect. Well, Mayor and Council, Happy New Year, and thanks for this opportunity. I'll be speaking today, but if there's questions, then Colette and I can address those. So just wanted to brief Council on, some need-to-knows in case you get questions from visitors and the general public in the area, as well as just keeping you informed of some new activities that we'd like to share with you folks. They're not big asks. It's more to do with communications and reaching out to the community. So it should be an interesting, hopefully it's an interesting presentation. I'd like to start off with schedule of activities, just outlining key contacts for you folks, and for this just an overview of the year of what projects we are expecting to do in your region, as well as the time periods. Moving on, I'd like to dive into specifics, juveniles, adults, and habitat, starting off with juvenile work. We're expecting this year 5 to 7 million smolts going through those narrows at the bridge on Highway 97. We are hoping to catch 40 to 100,000 of those smolts in our operations this year. Most of that work in the catch happens at nighttime at the Narrows. We also have some lake work. Can you explain where the Narrows is? Is that the Zozel Dam Narrows? Yep. Are you talking about? Between the north and central basin of the lakes. Of Vesuvius Lake. Yeah. Good, because it says Narrows/Zozel, and that's why I think we need to make sure that we understand. Okay, thank you so much. Very good. So we generally put Fike nets in at the Narrows, operate them at nighttime. We've been quite successful in not having any violations or other things like that with the general public. But this year we do plan on changing the operations a bit with our set net operations. They go through to June, so if there is water traffic, the request from council is we'd work with you on making sure that there's general public announcements that boat traffickers and others know that they're aware that there's activities going on, and we have signage in the area. So if there's anything that we can do to help out, get the message out, that would be, that is the ask. No questions there. Moving on. Can I ask quickly, the signage, do you provide the signage, or is that an ask that Asuias provide the signage? We generally have signage on site during operations, letting people know that there's fisheries research going on. We also have staff that are tagging during the daytime, so there's a lot of opportunity for word of mouth. Okay. If there's stuff that you would like us to share with the public in addition to what we provide, we can do that. Thank you. So, in terms of adult work coming this year, always the burning question. We have estimates out. We're working with the U.S. on expecting about 100,000 to 120 at the mouth of the Columbia. That will translate into 40 to 60,000 adults moving again through the Narrows between the north and central basins. Based on that number, we're projecting, and all this could change, and we'll know more by June. So if you guys would prefer an update by June, feel free to reach out, and I can certainly, myself or Colette, can come back and report out. We're hoping to, again, monitor survival. Last year, only less than 2% of the adults made it to spawning from 380,000 at the mouth. The key activities will be, again, doing what we call creeling, like monitoring fishers on the lakes and the river, food fishing, to be determined depending on the run. There's a very slim, less than 50% probability of wreck fishing as well as other demo fishing, but we're planning for it, as well as some pilot studies, again, at that bridge, as well as Zozel, where we're going to be doing acoustics work. So there might be, again, an opportunity to reach out to general public. And then again is the ask, just highlighting the work, people proceeding with caution, making sure that we have the, we're meeting the Nav Canada and water signage and meeting your guys' needs as well. Quickly moving on to habitat updates. This is a project I'm not sure if Colette's been directly involved with, but working with the Osoyoos Indian Band at the lower mouth with signage. There are a lot of habitat works going on in this surrounding area, and Carrie Alex is the key contact, but her specific request was habitat signage at that region where the buoy and signage is currently at. We've estimated over 10,000 visitors in that area. It's likely higher, just from riverbanks as well as water access. And so we'd like to continue operating that signage and buoys installed with the ask. I believe there was a contact of council some time ago, and this is just a follow-up to make sure that Colette and Carrie know who to reach out to for a letter of support, because NAV Canada is requesting a local support letter for that works.
Absolutely. We could...
Well, if you just send
sorry, go ahead.
if it's just sent generally to the town, then we'll address it.
Okay, we'll follow up with that.
Thank you.
Perfect. And then the next slide, sorry.
When you say your notification to general public, is that putting ads in the local newspaper?
What we do is, if you want to go to the next slide,
okay.
There's signage actually on site, and we monitor it. So this just shows where the buoys are located in the signage, and just a copy of what the general public would see. So that's what's currently up, and there are no other asks other than just a letter of support.
Okay.
Perfect. And lastly, just highlighting a few pilot studies. The last slide before there's any general feedback or questions is for specific. We're continuing to work with various groups in the region on the invasive monitoring. We are, again, piloting another carp emerging fisheries study throughout the region, and there's interest here in Osoyoos, which feeds into the third potential pilot and proposal is a strategy. There's been interest reaching out to just local user groups here as well as abroad on what we would call eco-derbies, tournaments or other strategies to deal with invasives. And then lastly, a fisheries forum in November where there'll be a reach out to you folks to be determined on an update of cobtwig, almost like a state of the basin concept of fisheries in the region, with a large focus obviously in the Osoyoos area. So with that, again, thank you for your time. And if there's any questions or feedback, it was just a reach out to you folks, and if there's any additional things that you'd like to know or if we can help with, thanks again.
Thank you very much. We do appreciate the updates, and we would certainly appreciate having Colette or you come back in the future and sort of let us know what's happening, how things have changed, and what's going to happen for the summer, for sure.
Well, that's great. We'll action item that, and then we'll reach out to you folks for maybe a June session. That would be most appropriate.
Thank you very much. Councillor Campbell?
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Thanks, Richard. And you know I've attended a lot of the meetings in the past, and I've watched how this program's evolved over the last several years, and it's been amazing. So great job to you and your team. As far as the no boat signage, does it make sense to have information signage at marinas as well, rather than? Is that something you're planning on doing, or?
Well, we would definitely be interested in working with the user groups here as well as yourself that would be key, that we have there's other signage in Oliver and other key locations that we work with the Osoyoos Indian Band, but there's 2 or 3 key access points that we could definitely improve on. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Good idea. I guess one of my concerns when you were talking about monitoring at the bridge, we have signs that we replace quite often, I think, that say no diving or jumping off the bridge. Has that ever been a concern? Because whether you have signs there or not, there are kids that still do it. It's sort of a rite of passage, unfortunately. How does that affect what you do at the bridge?
Oh, it does. It alters the behavior of the fish. So
Yes.
when we're on site at nighttime, we do get actually surprisingly folks, as you know, that live under the bridge as well as pass at all times of the day. And we consult with them about
Good.
that. And as well as when we're operating these pilot studies, they're going to be so short-framed, like 3 to 5 days,
Okay.
7/24, like around the clock, that we will actually have staff on site the whole time.
Oh, good.
With signage, similar to other projects where it's kind of just a storyboard.
Yes.
But you are correct. It's a high hazard area, and people need to be cognitive of it.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate the fact that you're, providing that information, because that's really important. Is there anything else that? Yeah.
I'm just wondering,
CEO?
we're always looking for activities for our visitors. Is there any type of opportunity for kind of a hands-on experience? If you're out there tagging, setting up some type of an education station where maybe if people are cruising around in the evening, they could, experience tagging fish or anything like that. Or is there any opportunity or downsides to that? I know it's kind of a little bit more of a, probably a hassle relative to it, but is there any type of opportunity like that? Even for locals, to experience and know what is happening with the fish monitoring program in the lake?
No, absolutely. To be as succinct as possible, I would say yes across the board. There's probably 3 or 4 initiatives that come to mind immediately that Colette and I can make as an action item to follow up. Is we have the OSCE model, where fishers are out there, and we just need to coordinate to get youth or elders or other people on those boats. So we have quite a comprehensive liability scheme for that option to get on the water. Any marina development, the second one that comes to mind is any marina develops that are proposed in the future, you can actually build best practices, good for fish structures that you could actually through user groups fund and make that as an opportunity viewing points and integrate that into any local science programs with the schools so that they have monitoring points. And then certainly we through ONA, we are always looking for volunteers. So whether we're creeling or the activities that I've shown you, we have we have our limitations in capacity, but I think if there's opportunity for just small dollars to be leveraged, generally these programs, like even 5,000, can go a long way, where we can take 5,000 and turn that into a $60,000 to $100,000 program. So if there's opportunities and projects that you would like to see functioning in the area, in addition to what the Osoyoos Indian Band is doing, we would be, there's opportunity there. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you.
Could you explain what creeling is, what you do? And the other thing is the OSCI. Can you tell us what those initials stand for?
I'm going to, if Colette's okay, do you want to talk about creeling? She's actually our head.
Okay.
She
Love to hear
heads that
about
whole
it.
program up, and then Colette can also.
And when
speak.
you do this, when you're here for 4 or 5 days, would you be able to let council know that you are there? Because I'd love to go and stand on the bridge and watch if that's a possibility. But
and in addition to having OIB members there for any media ops,
Sure.
might be a good way to show just collaboration, right?
Absolutely.
So that would be something to consider. But
You could take advantage of your rite of passage, too, at the same time.
But we could spin it. We can basically create those opportunities if you think. But certainly, just for education purposes,
perfect.
we can, for the school programs or other
think
things.
that's really
I think
important.
We're going to be pit tagging fish. This is we are now an index stock for the whole Columbia. So great opportunity to connect up with the secondary and elementary schools to get them out there to see what we're doing and learn about the
Great
program.
idea. That's a great idea.
But then some of the more innovative DITSIN military type technologies that we're using for fish passage and other
Right.
things, this is cutting edge stuff that, yourself and OIB can be very proud of. So
Good.
with that, I'll hand it over to Colette.
Thank you.
So creeling is just monitoring the fishers that are out on the lake and the river. So we have crews that, usually a crew of 2 that go drive along the river and at different access points and talk to fishermen and just asking them about their fishing, like when they started and what they're catching and target species. And we do the same on the lake.
So just getting information
Yeah.
as much wherever you can.
Yeah.
Do I understand that at the Zozel Dam they have some sort of a camera or something and they can tell how many fish have actually gone through there? To me, that's kind of amazing. Because I'm on the Lake Esuias Board of Control through the IJC, I've asked. I've never actually been to the dam right up there. I've seen it from afar, and I've asked to have a tour of it. So I'm looking forward to that in the spring. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else have any other questions? Thank you very much to both of you for providing this information. Please continue to keep us updated. We think it's really important to know what's going on. And I like the fact that that you're looking at the last thing here, invasive monitoring. And I just saw a letter that the OBWB has sent to, I think, the provincial and the federal governments on monitoring of various species, particularly the mussels, because we want to make sure that we prevent having that in our lakes. So thank you very much to both of you for coming and for making this presentation available to us. Keep us informed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that is all that's on our agenda. So the presentation was received for information, and we will have a move to adjourn this meeting. Campbell, King, all in favor. Thank you very much.